Kornbrath was not just a virtuoso of engraving. He was a skilled artisan who was a genius in layout and composition. I think these two guns on the table exemplify the work and some of his finest work that he's put out. It's truly a sight to behold. Rudolph Kornbrath is quite possibly the greatest engraver of the 20th century. And his tutelage is second to none, creating one of the greatest engraving dynasties the world would ever know. He began his career at the age of 13 when he went to a trade school, following in his father's footsteps. Ferdinand Kornbrath was known to be one of the greatest engravers in Europe at the time. But at 15 years old, Rudolph had to take over his family's shop when his father unexpectedly passed away. He worked there for about 8 years before he decided to immigrate to the United States and hang out his shingle. He worked continually from 1910 to 1937 when he suffered from a debilitating stroke that ended his career. However, his legacy lives on today through his steel canvas and the other engravers he taught. Men like Joseph Fugger, who famously engraved for Griffin & Howe and many other great manufacturers. In Joseph Fugger's protege, the master Winston Churchill's work is second to none. These two elite pieces before me are diverse in nature, however, both display the genius of Rudolph Kornbrath. Now, most of the guns that I've dealt with of Mr. Kornbrath's were 1903s that were customized by some of the greatest makers. Griffin & Howe, of course, a gunmaker of famed author Ernest Hemingway, Hoffman, and R.G. Owen. R.G. Owen is known as probably the greatest maker of the 1903, and he did things a little bit different than the others. He took a page out of the playbook of the fine European makers and made guns by orders. They didn't just make guns and stock them, you had to come in and submit an order of what you wanted. And this is one of those guns. Now, this 1903 comes to us from the collection of famed artist, author, and historian Joseph Shields Jr., and subsequently the collection of Firearms titan Frank Brownell. Let's start with the stock. A beautiful piece of walnut, from checkered butt plate to horned fore-end cap. It displays the hallmarks of everything that you want in a custom rifle. The beautiful multi-line sharp checkering is no doubt the work of Bill Snyder. His hallmark, the arrow on the side of the stock, tells us that. And the gun is truly beautiful. It has fine acanthus scroll work from bolt handle to muzzle. It expertly flows throughout the piece. I really believe that Kornbrath's genius is not just in the cutting of his scroll, but his spatial awareness and how the engraving interacts with the individual pieces. It truly flows, whether it's the relief scroll on the bolt handle or the delicate lines on the Lyman 48 peep. But where I really think it speaks is just in front of the ejection port. This fine acanthus scroll you can roll in the light and it seems to grow. It's floral in nature, however, it creates this depth by the way it interacts with the round of the barrel. It's truly amazing, and every single time I see it, it gives me chills. However, I saved the best for last. The floor plate and trigger guard on this gun are nothing short of spectacular. The blued background creates an atmospheric perspective for this full-bodied bull moose in gold walking through this marshland. A golden tree, golden reeds, and tufts of golden grass pop forth through the gun. It's truly dimensional And they create this beautiful, almost near first light scene of this moose meandering through this marsh. And it's one of the greatest floor plates I've ever seen. It's truly a sight to behold. It's one of the greatest 1903s, if not the greatest 1903 that I've ever had the chance to behold. But you don't have to take my word for it. Famed author R.L. Wilson depicts and writes about this gun on page 528 of the Colt Book of Engraving, Volume 2. Even though this gun is unsigned, it's undoubtedly the work of Rudolph Kornbrath and famed rifle maker R.G. Owen, two of the greatest names of the time. The Colt government model that you see before you was shipped August 15th of 1934 to Wolf & Clark, the famed house in Fort Worth, Texas, as a one-gun shipment, and at factory letters to the virtuoso of Rudolph Kornbrath. First of all, according to many books, there were only 25 factory engraved pre-war government models ever made. So it's one of 25. But this one is expertly engraved by Rudolph Kornbrath. Again, the acanthus scroll flows across the top strap of this gun, down the grip safety, on the back of the slide, on the whole underside, on the front of the grip strap. It's expertly done. The way the scroll flows around the Colt signature on the slide is amazing. And the fact that it's in such fantastic condition, it truly radiates light. When you see a Caravaggio painting and you see it in the dark, it almost glows. And this government model emanates light just like that. A true piece of artwork. Kornbrath was a factory engraver for Colt from 1919 all the way until the time of 1937 when the stroke ended his career. And this was done right in the midst of his heyday, 1934. Rarity on top of rarity. It checks all the boxes. One of the finest American pistols ever devised. Factory engraved. Shipped to Wolf & Clark, one of the greatest wholesalers of the time. Engraved by Rudolph Kornbrath, but it also factory letters. How amazing is that? Now, the grips were not mentioned on the factory letter. However, Wolf & Clark at the time was known to make pearl grips, specifically with steer head carvings and ruby eyes. So undoubtedly, these grips were put on by Wolf & Clark at the time. It's truly a sight to behold. Kornbrath was not just a virtuoso of engraving. He was a skilled artisan who was a genius in layout and composition. I think these two guns on the table exemplify the work and some of his finest work that he's put out. Both these guns are available in our premiere auction this May. Come to Preview Day. Get a chance to put your hands on epic masterpieces from Rudolph Kornbrath. Roll the acanthus scroll in the light. Behold what the master had created on these steel canvases. And they're only available right here at Rock Island Auction Company.